The complete history of the 1969 Singapore 10 cents coin. An interesting story. The bustling heart of Southeast Asia, where the Singapore River meets the endless blue of the Strait of Malacca, a tiny coin was born in 1969 that would quietly tell the story of a young nation's bold dreams. This is not just any 10 cents piece. It is the 1969 Singapore 10 cents coin from the legendary Marine series, the very first coin struck after Singapore became a fully independent republic. Its front, obverse, and back, reverse, sides carry hidden messages of prosperity, strength, and the sea that made Singapore a global powerhouse. Let's dive deep into its fascinating history. Welcome to Old World Coins Vault. Here, we bring you the oldest, the rarest, and the most mysterious coins from around the world. Do you want to know which coin is worth millions? Which coin is hiding one of history's biggest secrets? And which coin looks ordinary today, but could make you rich tomorrow? So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's open the Old World Coins Vault. The tale begins long before 1969. Singapore had been a British colony, then part of Malaysia from 1963 to 1965. When it separated on 9 August 1965, the tiny island, only 580 square kilometers, had no army, no natural resources, and just 2 million people. But it had visionaries like Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew and Finance Minister Dr. Goh Keng Swee. They knew one thing was urgent. Singapore needed its own identity, including its own money. Until 1967, people still used the old Malaysian dollar notes and coins. That had to change. On 12 June 1967, the Board of Commissioners of Currency, Singapore, BCCS, proudly introduced the brand new Singapore dollar and a complete set of decimal coins, 1, 5, 10, 20, 50 cents, and $1. This was called the Marine series because every coin's reverse side celebrated Singapore's life as a maritime nation. The 10 cents coin was one of the most important everyday pieces. It was struck every year from 1967 to 1985, but our special 1969 version was minted in huge numbers, exactly 25,014,000 pieces. Who made this beautiful coin? The designer was a world-famous Australian artist and silversmith named Stuart Devlin. He was already known for designing coins for Australia and many other countries. Singapore chose him because he could create elegant, modern designs that mixed local culture with international style. The actual minting was done at the Royal Mint in London. Some sources also mention early involvement of Singapore Mint facilities as they were setting up. Stuart Devlin personally engraved both sides. It was his genius that turned a simple 10-cent coin into a tiny work of art. Now, let's look at the front side, obverse, and its history. In the center, you see boldly written 10/cents. On the left side, 2 graceful stalks of paddy rice curve around the rim. On the right, the words 1969 Singapore curve beautifully. Why rice stalks? In 1967 to 69, Singapore was just starting its journey from a poor trading post to an economic tiger. Rice was a symbol of fertility, abundance, and growth, even though Singapore didn't grow much rice itself. The stalks reminded every citizen that hard work and good planning would bring prosperity, just like a rice field gives harvest after harvest. The design also included the 4 official languages of Singapore, English, Malay, Chinese, Tamil, on higher coins, but for 10 cents it kept it simple and elegant. This side was meant to be practical for daily use in markets, buses, and hawker centers, yet it carried the quiet hope of a new nation, feeding its people and growing rich. The backside, reverse, is pure magic, a majestic, great-crowned seahorse, scientifically related to hippocampus species. No words, just the seahorse swimming gracefully, its crown-like spines shining in copper-nickel metal. Why a seahorse? Singapore has always been a port city, the lion city built on trade across the oceans. Seahorses are unique creatures. The males carry the babies in their pouch, showing strength and care. They live in coral reefs and shallow seas, just like the waters around Singapore. Stuart Devlin chose marine life for the whole series, swordfish on 1 cent, seahorse on 10 cents, etc., to celebrate Singapore's identity as a maritime hub. Every time someone used this coin in 1969, they were holding a symbol of the sea routes that brought ships from Europe, China, India, and the Middle East. The seahorse said, "We are small, but we swim with power and grace." Why was this coin made exactly in 1969? The series started in 1967, but 1969 was a special year. Singapore's economy was booming after the British military bases began closing, which took away 20% of the economy. New factories, the start of Jurong Industrial Estate, and the first container port were opening. The government needed millions of coins for daily transactions because people were earning and spending more. 25 million 10-cent pieces were struck that year alone. That's why it is so common today. It was made to serve the people, to replace old Malaysian coins completely, and to show the world, Singapore is here, independent, and ready to trade. The copper-nickel metal, 75% copper, 25% nickel, was chosen because it was strong, cheap, and wouldn't rust in Singapore's humid climate. The coin weighs exactly 2.83 grams, measures 19.41 millimeters across, has a reeded, grooved edge so it doesn't wear out fast, and is perfectly round. It was meant for real life, buying a bowl of noodles or paying for a bus ticket. Now comes the exciting part, its value in the international market today. Because 25 million were made, it is very common. In circulated condition, the ones people actually used, it is worth only about 10 to 50 US dollars on eBay or coin shops worldwide. In uncirculated mint condition, bright and never used, collectors pay around 1,000 to 20,000 US dollars. Even proof versions, special shiny ones made for collectors, from 1969, are only worth 50,000 to $2 million. But its real value is historical and sentimental. For coin collectors in America, Europe, Australia, or even London, it is a beautiful piece of Asian history from the year man first walked on the moon. Imagine the life of one such coin. Born in the London Mint in 1969, it travels by ship to Singapore. A housewife uses it to buy vegetables in Chinatown. A taxi driver receives it as change. A child keeps it in his piggy bank. Decades later, someone in America or London finds it in an old collection and smiles. This tiny seahorse once helped build a nation. That is the magic.